不晓得大家记不记得哦，《绝地救援》电影当中由麦特·戴蒙饰演的太空人马克·瓦特尼吗？他因为一场意外哦，被迫滞留在火星上，凭着智慧和毅力呢，最终得以生存下去，等待地球的救援。而今天没想到在现实生活当中，就有2位太空人面临着同样的困境，真实的上演了一场绝地救援的电影情节。但是他们已经在国际的太空站上滞留了整整9个月了，迟迟无法回家。所以今天就由我带着各位观众呢，一起搭乘伊隆马斯克 SpaceX 公司所最新研发的猎鹰9号火箭，一起升向太空，准备前往救人。Hello， 大家好，我是立恩。在我们开始一起出发救人前我们要先来了解一下为什么会发生这个事情。这个是去年2024年6月的2位太空人魏摩尔跟威廉斯，他们成了首批搭乘波音星际飞机 Starliner 太空船飞往了国际太空站 ISS 的太空人。原本的原定计划只是要在太空站待8天，进行一些任务，但没有想到呢 ，NASA 找的波音公司所研发的星际飞机的这个推进系统就出现问题。那 NASA 就认为说，哎呀，那让你们2个人搭乘这个星际飞机回家这个过程太过冒险可能会有不幸的意外或闪失发生，所以呢，就迫使他们继续留在太空站，等待下一次再来进行接回的动作。但没有想到呢，没有搭上 Starliner 星际飞机呢，这个空船的星际飞机呢，却也成功的在去年9月的时候，还是返回地球了。那这2个人怎么办呢？这2个人就一直苦苦等 NASA 能不能够再次发射火箭来接他们。结果呢，美国就一直迟迟无法成功发射火箭，就使得这2名太空人呢就被迫留在太空站当中，宛如麦特·戴蒙所主演的卖座电影《绝地救援》的样。但是比这麦特·戴蒙稍微好一点是，麦特·戴蒙那个情况是更复杂他是一个人单独留在火星培养作物农作物，他们2个留在太空站。那太空站的这个粮食呢，在那个时候来看是还算充足的问题是这2个人呢也一直不确定自己会留多久，就没想到这一留居然留了9个月。那这个事情呢，妙就妙在哪里呢？大家就会想这为什么 NASA 如果一个原定8天的计划，现在突然被迫要暂留到8个月的长度，那 NASA 怎么可能一点反应都没有呢？说来也奇怪照 NASA 的表示呢，认为他们没有关系因为粮食呢在太空站都充足，所以呢就建议他们呢继续的在太空站完成更多的一些科学任务与相关作业，好等的下一次的营会。可是这个就说不通啦。如果是一个一般太空人只能留8天的任务，你居然现在一次要求他们留到8个月，这会不会不合常理？事实上NASA 后来就跟波音公司断绝了合作关系，转而往世界首富 Elon Musk 的 SpaceX 火箭公司。为什么？因为他们不得不承认可能只有找 SpaceX 才有可能解决这个救援的计划。那最终 SpaceX 在美东时间3月14号呢，成功发射了猎鹰9号，带着新一批的这太空人前往 ISS 国际太空站。那马斯克就在他的 X 平台发文炮轰说其实当初就已经在去年跟拜登政府提出过，他愿意来帮忙参与，并且完成救援，可是呢却被拜登政府拒绝。
上帝不是说了吗？救人一命胜造7级浮屠
那是佛祖说的。
所以呢，我们来听听在这一次 SpaceX 要出发之前的时候呢，就有美国记者透过远端视讯的连线，疑问了船上的这个太空人关于马斯克援助的这件事情，他们是否知情，是否 Joe Biden 政府真的拒绝他们？我们一起来听听看。
Our next question is from Aaron Gregg with The Washington Post.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for doing this. So my question relates to Elon Musk has said that he made the offer to bring you guys back earlier and that it was denied. My first question is that true? And if so, what would that have looked like? Was he offering to make another flight, push seats on another flight? Could you give us some background there?
I can only say that Mr. Musk, what he says is absolutely factual. We have no information on that though whatsoever. What was offered, what was not offered, who it was offered to, how that process went. That's information that we simply don't have. So I believe him. I don't know all those details, and I don't think any of us really can give you the answer that maybe that you would be hoping for.
所以呢，刚刚就证实了哈，太空人自己都承认说，确实马斯克说的是真的，他们是单方面被拜登政府拒绝。像如果有看过我们之前马斯克对左派的复仇大计的上下集，就知道，其实马斯克在公开的支持唐纳川普以前，跟 Joe Biden 两人就已经非常不合啊。果然 Joe Biden 呢，就这次也不领马斯克的情。那这个事情呢 ，NASA 就一直出面否认说，哎呀，没有这回事情，我们从来都没有拒绝过谁的帮助，完全只是为了要这2名太空人呢，继续可以完成更多的任务。但是我怎么听都觉得这是不合理的哈，因为你原定的一个8天的任务，你凭什么突然要求别人能够在太空站上完成到8个月之久？而且这8个月，其实坦白说，对于太空人的身心灵各方面来讲，其实是非常巨大的压力啊。其中一名是女印度太空人 Williams， 去年9月9号的时候就有拍摄照片哈。那这个是已经他们滞留在太空站已经差不多快3个月的时候，很明显的呢，就看到她的脸部已经严重的凹陷成了锥子脸，身体也明显的消瘦，双手明显的骨瘦如柴，让一众的这个 NASA 员工就都非常的震惊。因为 Williams 他身高很高挑，有1.73米，开始执行任务的时候呢，他的体重还有140磅。那 Williams 的骨瘦如柴的状况就令 NASA 的医生非常担忧，因为透过照片来看的话呢，认为他已经有严重的肌肉萎缩的这种情况。据 NASA 的消息人士透露，宇航员因为受到新陈代谢的变化，理论上每天的摄取量是应该要在地球上的2倍，所以大约要在3500大卡到4000大卡才能维持体重。但是当你热量如果严重摄取不足的时候，体重就会开始下降。那同时呢，宇航员还必须每天运动2小时以上，才能够在这种零重力的环境当中维持肌肉量与骨密度。好，那据了解威廉斯他是热爱跑步，但相对的高运动量又会消耗更多热量，所以呢，除了摄取热量的不足以及运动量必须要过大呢，威廉斯呢暴瘦的第3个原因恐怕跟生理特征有关。因为据 NASA 的一项研究指出，太空旅行对于女性的生理影响呢会比男性严重，尤其是肌肉流失速度令他们比男的宇航员呢要减重更多。好，所以怎么样看起来其实某种程度上都挺令人担忧的，对吧？更不要说就是他们也一直迟迟无法得知到底什么时候自己可以被接回去，或者说是不是也许那个时候Joe Biden 已经认为马斯克有意要支持川普，所以呢这样子接受马斯克的援助是否会影响选情呢？这个我们不得而知，但只能说都有政治因素考量在内。但是还好美国总统川普当上总统，不然的话坦白说谁都不知道这个救援行动到底什么时候美国才会继续开展下去。够硬。美国总统川普与伊隆马斯克呢，在今年年初的时候也承诺说，一定会加速这2位太空人的返程，并且指责拜登政府在此事上的拖延。好了，不可以再多说了，再多说就耽误到救人的时间了。这个相信大家呢，这个前后来龙去脉也知道差不多了。现在就让我们一起跟着马斯克 SpaceX 的最新猎鹰9号，一起火箭升空，前往救援。4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition and liftoff. Go SpaceX, go NASA Crew 10. Copy 1 Alpha.
And liftoff of Crew 10 now
Vehicle
soaring to the
pitching
International
downrange.
Space Station. We're now 40 seconds into today's flight.
Power and telemetry nominal.
Continuing to get good performance call-outs.
Throttle down.
Yeah, we are throttling down the engines in preparation for Max Q. What great timing that was. We just passed through Max Q. That's the largest structural load that the vehicle will see on ascent.
Vehicle supersonic. Stage 1 throttle up.
We're now just over 1 minute and 10 seconds into today's flight, traveling at more than 1,400 miles per hour.
Stage 1 Bravo.
And we just heard that call out for 1 Bravo, which means we're in the second and final abort mode for the first stage, continuing to get good performance. And the crew already pulling over 2 Gs. Next up, we'll have a couple of events happening in rapid succession.
Impact chill started.
First will be that engine chill on the second stage impact engine, which we just heard. And then we'll have MECO, or main engine cutoff, where the 9 engines on the first stage will cut off ahead of the first and second stages will be separating from one another. Then the single Merlin vacuum engine on the second stage will ignite and continue to carry Crew 10 to orbit while the first stage begins its journey back to Earth. Now we're just 2 minutes into today's flight. The vehicle is traveling just under 4,000 miles per hour.
We're just about 20 seconds away from those events that Anna just mentioned. The 9 Merlin engines will shut down here in just about 10 seconds for MECO, stage separation, and SES-1.
Main engine cutoff.
SpaceX Dragon, 2 Alpha.
Stage separation confirmed.
Copy, 2 Alpha.
Great call-outs and incredible views there on your left-hand screen. On your left-hand screen, you can see a view from stage 1. And an extremely excited crowd here in Hawthorne. Awesome views of that boost back burn on the first stage, as well as the MVAC engine igniting on the second stage. Great views there. Now the booster is in its boost back burn. This is the first of 3 burns as it makes its way back down to Earth. This will last about 45 seconds. And the crew, 10 crew, is still on board Dragon attached to Falcon 9 second stage, which you can see there on your right-hand screen.
And we're now at 3 minutes and 20 seconds into today's flight. The vehicle is traveling about 6,500 miles per hour. They are on their way to the space station. And we did have that confirmation coming up of the boost back shutdown, and then coming up at the T+6 minute mark. And there we have our first images of the crew inside the Dragon spacecraft as they make their way into orbit. And the crew
Dragon, SpaceX, nominal trajectory.
continuing to get good call-outs.
SpaceX Dragon, copy nominal.
Stage 2 continues to be on power with in its firing until we get to that second stage engine cutoff around the 9-minute mark of flight. About 5 minutes of flight to go before Dragon will be flying free.
Some cool views there on your left-hand screen. That's the first stage booster as it's making its way back down to Earth. This is a ground tracking camera getting these awesome views.
And on the right-hand side of your screen, you can see that lone Merlin vacuum engine of the second stage. We're continuing to get good performance on the second stage. And the crew's G loads will dip right when we hit the separation event, and it's going to continue to build up until then.
Dragon, SpaceX, nominal trajectory.
SpaceX Dragon, copy nominal.
We're now at 5 minutes into today's flight with a liftoff at 7:03 p.m. Pacific, 7:03 p.m. Eastern, 4:03 p.m. Pacific. Continuing to get good call-outs as Stage 1 makes its way back to Earth, and Stage 2 continues to fire, propelling Dragon into orbit.
If you're just now joining us, the 4 members of Crew 10 launched from Launch Complex 39A at Kennedy Space Center in Florida. And they're currently on board Dragon, still attached to Falcon 9 second stage, which you're seeing there on your right-hand screen. On your left-hand screen, the first stage vehicle is making its way back down to Earth. It already completed the first of 3 burns as the boost back burn. And the next event coming up for that vehicle is going to be the entry burn.
Dragon, SpaceX, nominal trajectory.
Great call-outs there. That entry burn is coming up.
SpaceX Dragon, copy nominal.
That entry burn is coming up here in just under 20 seconds. We'll reignite 3 of those 9 Merlin 1D engines to help slow the vehicle down as it makes its way back into the Earth's atmosphere.
We're now just over 6 minutes into today's flight as Dragon and the second stage continue traveling at over 12,000 miles per hour. making their way into orbit and on the way to the International Space Station.
There, we just saw on the screen, it was very quick, but we had the entry burn, which we got some cool views of that from the ground, which is awesome. Now, the next event coming up will be the landing burn for the first stage. That's coming up here in about 30 seconds.
Dragon SpaceX, nominal trajectory.
Again, great call-outs for
SpaceX Dragon, copy nominal.
Confirmation there from the crew as they continue to make their way into orbit. Now 7 minutes into today's flight, the first stage making its way back down to Earth and the second stage continuing to fire.
This is an awesome view. Let's see if we can see the center engine relight for that landing burn here in a few seconds. There's that landing burn. Let's watch as Falcon 9 touches down on landing zone 1.
Stage 2 SOS complete.
And the crowd here is excited to see Falcon 9 touch down on landing zone 1.
And now that the first stage has made its way back to Earth, we're about a minute away from the second engine cutoff, which we're expecting around the 9-minute mark of today's flight. We're continuing to get good call-outs, and Dragon and all of the systems on the vehicle are performing as expected. Just over 8 minutes into today's flight, traveling more than 21,000 miles per hour.
Terminal guidance.
Hearing good call-outs. We're about 30 seconds away from that second engine cutoff, and then shortly after that, about a minute or so later, we will have orbital insertion.
SpaceX Dragon, Shannon.
SpaceX copy, Shannon.
And that call out there for Shannon, and that is the call out for Shannon, Ireland, which is the final abort stage for the second stage off the coast of Ireland. Standing by for a second engine cutoff.
And back shutdown. Dragon SpaceX, nominal orbit insertion.
And there we heard confirmation
Launch escape system disarmed.
Good confirmation of orbital insertion. Crew 10 is now well on their way to the International Space Station following a 9.5-minute flight uphill.
Now, the second stage is preparing for Dragon separation here, which should happen shortly. In about 10-15 seconds is what we're expecting. Now we're preparing for stabilizing the second stage so that we can have a smooth separation.
And there you can see on the left-hand side of your screen, the crowd is going wild. There on your screen you can see that Dragon separation, that second stage making its way, and Dragon is now flying free. 10 minutes into today's flight, that was about a minute after we had that second engine cutoff and orbital insertion. And it looks like a good separation, good rates. Dragon now flying free. There on the right-hand side of your screen, you can see some first images of Crew 10 inside the Dragon Endurance spacecraft as they're now successfully in orbit.
Dragon, SpaceX, Chief Engineer on Countdown 1. On behalf of the entire Falcon team, we thank you for flying with Falcon and wish you a great mission. Over to LD.
It was an honor flying with you this evening. We wish you well on your journey and give Crew 9 our best. Thank you for flying SpaceX.
SpaceX Dragon, this is Crew 10 Commander Ann McLean. Thank you to all of the teams from across the world who contributed to the launch today. Spaceflight is tough, but humans are tougher. Days like today are made possible only when people choose to do the harder right over the easier wrong. Build relationships, choose cooperation, and believe in the inherent goodness of all people across the world. To my family and friends, without you, I would not be here. Explore boldly, live gracefully, go Crew 10. And over to pilot Nicole Ayers.
Nicole Ayers again. We're not the first humans to get to orbit, and we wouldn't be here without the bravery and hard work of those who have paved the way for human spaceflight. We now get the unique perspective of Earth without borders and get to revel in the connectedness of humanity. I would be remiss to not once again acknowledge those who helped me get here to this wonderful view and this perspective, to the teachers, coaches, fellow officers, fellow teammates, Raptor Nation, to my friends and family.
SpaceX Crew 10, welcome aboard the SS.
那最后呢，我想跟大家分享啊，就是圣经传道书9章第10节这边说到，凡你手所当做的事，要尽力去做。那我自己觉得呢 ，Elon Musk 这一个行为啊，其实可以说就是如此的一个义举哈，因为 Elon Musk 并没有在去年因为与 Joe Biden 的一个不和的嫌隙呢哈，而停止了主动向美国政府提出他愿意来协助这个救援的计划。所以我个人认为 Elon Musk 在这点上面，其实确实充分展现出了一种无私的精神，没有分这个敌我哈，表示他自己也认为。对当时候的 NASA 的情况呢，其实在全美国大概也就只有 SpaceX 有这个能力跟条件来协助 NASA 完成，所以我个人认为这还是很了不起的哈。尽管那时候 Joe Biden 是拒绝的。OK， 那很高兴今天跟大家分享这么有意义的一个故事。那希望呢，在这个真实的事件当中，也可以给我们一些省思跟启发。就是说，也许我们自己能够帮助到别人，而且你又知道你是关键性的时候呢，那么宁可放下敌我的成见，也应该先以人道的精神救援为最高原则。我们这边是超级神队友，我们就下部影片再见，拜拜。
Christ alone, our hope now forever.